Hello there and welcome to the garden. Today I just pulled out a bunch of seeds and I'm going to go plant over in this little corner pollinator area. I'm going to make a little pollinator garden. So I actually got out here yesterday afternoon and I put in a few of my seedlings that I had started. So I popped in mostly the milkweed that I had going. I'll show you where that all is. And then just a little bit of the sea holly that I also had started. So hopefully they're all still looking good this morning. And then I pulled out a bunch of seeds and I'm just gonna see how much I have room for. Usually my eyes are a little bit bigger than my garden beds and I usually pull out too many seeds. So I may have a few more than I need for this area, but I do want to pack it out with a bunch of just really classic pollinator plants that I know are going to really bring in all of the hummingbirds and bees and butterflies and all the things. So let me show you where all the milkweed is. All right, so over here in the corner, I've got this rose. This is a lavender crush rose, and hopefully it's a climbing rose, so hopefully it'll start to climb up the fence. And then I actually am supposed to be having a second rose come in that I'm going to put in this container that's like a really pretty apricot kind of color rose. So that should be going in that container. And then over here, it looks like, I don't know if this got bumped, but this is milkweed. So or actually money plant right here. And then I have milkweeds, a common milkweed. I've got a butterfly milkweed, a little bit of sea holly, showy milkweed here. Make sure everybody gets in there. And then over here I have a soulmate milkweed. So I just filled it all in with a bunch of my little milkweed starts. They're still very small, but I just wanted to kind of get ahead of things, get moving, you know, get things going. Along the fence, I am going to plant some Mexican sunflowers, Tithonia. It's a beautiful, oh my gosh, this is some of the most gorgeous plants ever. I'm gonna do, I think, like 2 or 3 over here in the corner. And then next to it, I'm gonna pop a couple of these evening sunflowers. They're also another branching sunflower. I really like the branching sunflowers. I just feel like you get a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more bang for your buck, basically. Like you're gonna have multiple flowers, and since my garden is so small, it's nice to have multiple flowers. I also have another flowering sunflower. This is reds. I don't remember what this particularly looks like, but I'm guessing from the name that it's a nice red color, and that's kind of what I'm going for with these sunflowers. So I may pop the reds over here in this area and just have a few different sunflowers coming up, hopefully with big branches and beautiful sunflowers, and under them we'll have all these other pollinator plants. So for our pollinator sections around here, I am going to put in some blue spice basil. Basil is a really great one for pollinators. They really, really love it. If you let it go to flower, they really are all over it. And because this area has like some part shade over on this side, I think that the basil will be perfect because it'll do better in a little bit of part shade. Basil tends to do pretty well in part shade. And then in my more full sun sections, I am going to put a couple of my Queenie lemon peach zinnias. I'm also going to pop in a little bit of this apricot lemonade cosmos. So a really beautiful kind of apricot-y cosmo. And then around the edges, I did bring out some chamomile. I brought out some dill and some more of my Dara seeds. I don't know if I really have space for those, but I might put a little bit of dill just along the back because dill brings in the swallowtail butterfly. So that'll be a good one for them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and plant all these in, just following the directions on the seed packet, nothing super fancy. But the elephant dill, yeah, I'll sprinkle a little bit of the elephant dill. That'll be beautiful. But this hopefully will just be kind of like a meadowy looking full area, essentially. Let's start with these. I love the Mexican sunflowers. These are just so gorgeous. Let me see if there's a spot I can prop you guys up. Okay, here we go. So I don't want to plant too many because I don't want to overcrowd things if I can help it. I'm going to do 4 seeds and then hopefully at least most of them will come up. And we'll do evening sunflowers. I can also use the fence to support these, which will be really nice because I do find that I often need to tie them up a little bit, give them some kind of support. A couple of these sunflowers reds over here. Then we'll do some blue stripe basil. I'm basically with the basil just gonna kind of sprinkle it in. They're such small seeds and you surface sow, so I'm just gonna do like a big section. Just sow it like that. And I'm gonna sow some over here as well. There we go. Then we'll do the dill over here. Let me put a couple of these cosmos in. So with the dill and the basil, I kind of let that be pretty casual. Just sort of sprinkling it where it may. But I'll try to be a little bit more intentional with these. I think I'm actually going to put the zinnias up here by the rose so that they have you know, they're very clear, this section. There we go, and then a little bit in here. All right, that I think should be everything. I'm gonna also put down some slug bait on top of those seedlings. That's part of my process these time of year because the slugs do like to get after those little seedlings. It's hard when you're direct sowing in this area because the slugs, they just take after the seedlings. And as much as I hate putting down slug bait like that, there's really nothing you can do. Otherwise, they'll just eat all the seedlings. So I will put some slug bait down and then I'm just gonna stay on top of watering. I'm gonna make sure I come out every day and I really put my seeds down and I really water that area and I'm not letting it dry out at all. Zinnias, sunflowers come up pretty readily. They're pretty easy. Like if you don't do a lot of direct sowing, they're definitely ones that I would recommend because they're pretty easy to get started. But it's always just keeping enough water on the seedlings, especially in ground, to make sure that they actually, you know, germinate and everything. So we will turn on the sprinklers and get the hose. I'm just making sure to water all the other new plants that I got planted in here the other day. Make sure nothing dries out. I'm gonna be curious to see how that area turns out. Willy-nilly seed sowing like that sometimes is great. It doesn't always pan out perfectly. I really like it because I don't know. I just end up having fun spreading things out and throwing some things in. I'm hoping that it'll just kind of be really abundant and wild over in that area. And you know, if it ends up not quite turning out, then I can come in and adjust things later in the season because I'm just sowing with seeds. It's not a huge investment to get that started, but with all the milkweed and some cosmos, some basil, it should be really pretty. And I know that the Mexican sunflowers do really well in that area. This is my second year growing them in that space. I did re-amend the space with compost just to make sure that there's enough nutrients in there for them. That's always, you know, really important to do. But it feels good to also getting out all the little seedlings from the trays. You can see behind me I have a stack of trays to wash. I did actually end up kind of tossing a lot of the seedlings that I had going from that like winter sowing in the greenhouse in the January. It worked really well for the milkweed. I will say the milkweed was a huge success. I would 100% winter sow like that with milkweed in the unheated greenhouse. But I started like some violas. They never really took off and got very big. What else did I had violas and feverfew and they just didn't look good. They never took off, and so I just went ahead and scrapped that. And I will just I put the soil in the bottom of one of my big containers, and I'm just going to use it as kind of fill dirt. And sorry, all my seed packets are blowing away. Got a little bit of reuse today, but yeah, it just didn't end up working out, so I'm just gonna not do that. But the milkweed was a success, and so hopefully this season we see some more monarchs in this garden. Hopefully we have some more caterpillars. Hopefully all that milkweed I planted gets all eaten up. I'm willing to sacrifice that for the butterflies, and hopefully the dill gets eaten as well. Okay, I am going to go clean probably some of these seed trays, and yeah, do some things like that. I've got a bunch of house chores to do today too, which isn't nearly as fun as being out here in the garden. All my seeds are blowing away, but we've got a lot more gardening to do this week. I'm going to be out here planting lots and lots of things, so I will take you with me as I get some different things planted. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.